Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Trinadapi Sunichena Taradiva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Namaiva Kevalam Kalau Nastyeva 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 Gatir Anyata Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Tonight I'm going to speak on the very first verse of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The first line is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everybody can say Om Namo Bhagavate. So this first shloka is actually a Gayatri mantra. It has the last word of the shloka is Dhimahi. I meditate upon. Here is the complete verse. Janmadyasya yato anvayad itartas chartesh vabhigya swarat. Tene brahma rida ya adikavaye muyanti yat suraya. Tejo vari mridang yata vinimayo yatra trisarago mrisha. Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyang parang dhimahi. Everybody say satyang parang Dhimahi. So this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the mature literary work of Veda Vyas. Vyasadeva is credited with editing the one Veda, breaking it out into 4 divisions. Vyasadeva is credited with compiling 108 Upanishads, 18 Puranas, Itihasas, Mahabharat, and then his very scholarly work known as Vedanta Sutra. But in my last class here, last month, I began to narrate how Vyasadeva one day, as he awoke to perform his sadhana, he was very depressed. And at that moment, his guru, Sri Narada Muni, appeared, and Vyasadeva asked his spiritual master, please find out the root cause of my dissatisfaction. And Narada Muni began to instruct Vyasadeva, and specifically he told him to compile Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the ripened fruit of the tree of knowledge known as the Vedas. The Vedas are a tree of knowledge. All different kinds of metaphysical, material, and transcendental knowledge can be taken from the Vedic tree. But the ripened fruit of that tree of Vedic knowledge is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So in this first verse, Vyasadeva gives us a definition of the absolute truth. This material world is relative truth. It is not independent. So let's look at this verse little by little. So the opening line, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om, of course, is the three transcendental letters A-U-M. The first letter A refers to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. The second letter U refers to Srimati Radharani. And the third letter M, Makar, refers to Jiva Tattva, the living entities. This very first vibration, Om, is a sound vibration signifying the absolute truth. Krishna, Radha, the living entities. Everything is there. Now, Namo. Namo is I surrender. I offer my obeisances. I bow down. That is the meaning of Nama. Then Bhagavate, the personality of Godhead. The person, as we read in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, Purushottama. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that everyone in this material world is fallible. Everyone in the spiritual world is infallible. But then Krishna said, but I am beyond both. I am above both. And therefore Krishna said, in the Vedas and elsewhere, I am known as Purusha Uttama. Everybody say. You put them together, Purushottama. That signifies Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the supreme, topmost, transcendental person. Why am I emphasizing? Because it's a very important point. Don't be spiritually dyslexic. You all know what it is to be dyslexic. You put something second first and first second, backwards. Some people are spiritually dyslexic. They think that Krishna comes from Brahman. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahman comes from me. That's why I'm emphasizing this word Bhagavate, unto the personality of the absolute truth. And then in all Vedic mantras, you'll see Om Namo Bhagavate and then the specific name. Because as we learn from Lord Chaitanya, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. My Lord, you have hundreds and millions of names. Millions. Maybe you are familiar with Vishnu Sahasranam. That's only a small sample. Lord Chaitanya says God's names are unlimited. And it's not just restricted to the Sanskrit language. Any language, any nomenclature, any language which refers to God is as good. So even Allah, it can be accepted as a bona fide name of God. The name. I'm not talking about anything else. Or Jehovah, Yahweh, Adonai, Christ. Actually, Prabhupada says this word Christ comes from the Sanskrit word Krista. And Krista is a derivation of the word Krishna. Or like Gujaratis like to say, Krishna. Am I right? But whether you say Krishna or Krishna or Krishna, however you say it, we're signifying the, whatever. We're signifying the absolute truth. So every Vedic mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Rishikeshaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasinghaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Janardhanaya, so many unlimited names. But here, Vyasadeva is signifying Vasudeva. He chooses his words very carefully. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is Vyasadeva's final masterpiece. Therefore, he chooses his words very carefully. So when he uses Vasudeva, Vasudevaya, unto Vasudeva, Vasudeva has two meanings. Most of you understand Vasudeva means that person who is the son of the person known as Vasudeva. In a few days, we will celebrate what festival? Right. And Krishna appeared to Devaki and Vasudeva. Therefore, Krishna's name is Vasudeva. That's one, the general. But then there's a deeper explanation of the word Vasudeva, meaning all-pervasive. That he is conscious of his existence everywhere. Vasudeva is in your heart. Vasudeva is super soul. Vasudeva also enters into each atom of the material existence. Every atom is pervaded by this Vasudeva feature of Krishna. All pervasive. That's the first line. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now, the verse continues. Actually, this verse, Prabhupada's guru, Bhakti Siddhanta, spoke on this verse every day for 3 months. And he didn't repeat himself. He was that kind of brain. That's how huge and significant is this first verse of Bhagavatam. If you can understand and agree to what is in this first verse of Bhagavatam, you are perfect. You can be considered self-realized, but you have to be able to accept all of it. So, Janmadyasa Yataha, this Vasudeva, who he's invoking, is the cause of what? Janma Adi. Everything that is generated in this material world. You know, who does the creation? Brahma. Who does the destruction? Shiva. Who does the maintenance? Vishnu. So, all the manifested material universes, they are coming from, issuing from Vasudeva. And Vasudeva has innumerable expansions, such as Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Shirodakashayi Vishnu. All this is coming from Vasudeva. This is the first thing Vyasadeva is instructing us. Now, Anvayat itarata cha arteshu. This Vasudeva, Krishna, is directly and indirectly conscious of everything that's going on. And that's why the next word, abhigya, all-knowing, fully cognizant. And then this next word, swarat, fully independent. This is how we know we are not God. Nobody here can claim, I am fully independent. Especially all of us, we are householders. You're not independent. We are dependent on so many things. That's why in the beginning I said that everything here in this material world is, what was that phrase I used? Relative truth. Relative truth means it exists, but its existence is dependent on something else. Just like your children. Your children didn't create themselves, did they? You had conjugation and you gave birth to your children. Their existence is dependent on you, and your existence is dependent on your parents. And it goes back. Who is that person who has no other origin? He's on the altar. Vasudeva. When Vasudeva appeared to Devaki and Vasudeva Janmashtami night, Vasudeva said to them, "This is the third time I am appearing as your son. Previously, you were Prishni Garbha and Sutapa. You were Prishni and Sutapa, and I took birth as your son, Prishni Garbha. Then, in your next birth, you were Aditi and Kashyapa. I took birth as your son, Vamana." Now Vasudeva is telling Devaki and Vasudeva, "This is the third time I'm appearing as your son in my original form as Krishna. And this is your last birth in the material world. After this drama," because that's what it is. Krishna Leela is a drama, a novella, a drama, a stage play, a TV show in live, living color. Then they all return to their original state in the spiritual world. Abhigya Swawat. Vasudeva, or God, is fully aware of everything and fully independent. Another example. The sunshine is dependent on the sun, not vice versa. The sunshine does not produce the sun. That's why that verse in Bhagavad Gita, which I mentioned 10 minutes ago, Brahmanohi Pratishtaham, at the end of chapter 14 in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "I am the source of Brahman." Brahman is the effulgence of Krishna's body. Not that the effulgence of Krishna's body is the cause of Krishna. Just as it is ludicrous to say that the sun ray creates the sun. Even a third grader knows that. It is the sun that creates the sun rays. Now, yes, they're part and parcel. You can't separate. But still, the sun planet produces the sun rays or the sunshine. Similarly, the form, the body of Krishna produces the Brahman, Brahma Jyoti. Okay, so he's fully independent, fully cognizant, meaning Krishna is in your heart. He sees everything. This we learn in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. You can hide. You can cheat your friends, the government. You can do things and maybe you think nobody saw me do this. But we learn from the Bhagavatam, from the Yamadutas, by the way. The Yamadutas told the Vishnu Dutas, when the Yamadutas were trying to snatch Ajamila and take him to hell, and the Vishnu Duta said, "Stop, what are you doing?" And then they had a discussion. And the Yamadutas said, "We know that this Ajamil is sinful Because there are 13 witnesses to every action a human being performs. 13. If you go to the court of law and the lawyer for the other side, okay, I've got 13 witnesses who saw this person commit the crime. What do you think the verdict's going to be from the jury? If 13 witnesses corroborate that such and such did the crime, unless the jury is paid off, the person is going to jail. So for everything we do, there are 13 witnesses. And the last one is infallible. Super soul. Vasudev in your heart. There's no cheating. There's no getting away with anything. And when does it all come into play? At the time of death. Everything is revealed. We did this, called a rap sheet. All the good and bad activities are already recorded. And Yamaraj is stated by the Yamadutas. Yamaraj is empowered like the super soul. Yamaraj has great powers given to him by Krishna in the heart. He can judge a person. Oh yes. He looks at every one of us very quickly. Oh. Doop, 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 doop. And when the Yamadutas were talking to the Vishnu Dutas, they said, hey, Jamil did this, he did this, he did this, he did this, he did this. He's going to hell. But the Vishnu Duta said, not so fast. You're overlooking one thing. That at the time of death, what did he say? What did he say? Coca-Cola? What did he say? Everybody. Nara. Yeah, but Jamal didn't, at the time of death, didn't say Narayan. How did he say it? Narayan. Why? Because he was being taken by the Yamadutas. And he didn't want to go. Maybe you remember, maybe you saw. Many years ago, there was a movie called Ghost. It was a big movie. Yes, it was a very big movie, I remember. And they had the Yamadutas. And me and my wife would be, hey, they must have read Bhagavatam. Because this is not in any other religious scripture. Yes, exactly like this. So my wife and I concluded, they must have got, because we don't know where Prabhupada's books have wound up. I'll tell you a true story. I have a godbrother friend of mine, and he preaches to many big Hollywood type people. You know, there's this one person, Ted Turner, Turner Broadcasting. My friend told me Ted Turner has all of Prabhupada's books in his library. So we have no idea how this is spreading. And we are seeing more and more in movies, more and more concepts of Bhagavatam. There was another movie a couple of years ago, Inception, which had this idea of a dream within a dream within a dream. That's definitely Bhagavatam. You don't get that anywhere. That's not in the Bible. Trust me. So this Vedic philosophy is starting to infiltrate. All right. Now, Tene Brahma Hridya Yaadi Kavaye. Vyasadeva says that Lord Brahma, he is the first created being in the universe. Those who have read Bhagavatam, in the second and third cantos, there is the description of how Lord Narayan, specifically Garbhodaka Vishnu, generates a golden lotus from his navel. And on top of the navel appears Lord Brahma. Nobody else is yet in the material universe. He's all by himself. And he tries to find out the source. So that's why Lord Brahma is called Swayambhu, Atmabhu, because he doesn't have a mother and father like you and me. His mother, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. His father, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. It's not that Garbhodakashayi Vishnu tapped Lakshmi on the shoulder. I need to know. He told Lakshmi, you take rest. I will generate my son from myself. He didn't need the help of Lakshmi. Us men, if we want to have children, we need the cooperation of our wives. Not Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. He's Swarat. He's fully independent. That's what it means to be God. You're not dependent on anyone or anything. For instance, the story of Akadashi. Maybe you heard the first story of Akadashi, how Narayan was fighting one demon. Narayan got tired, he took rest. So the demon was waiting because he didn't want to fight Narayan while he was sleeping. What credit is there for that? So he was waiting to continue to fight. Out of the sleeping body of Narayan came a woman, and she slayed the demon. And then she waited with folded hands, and when Narayan woke up, he saw the dead demon. She explained, yes, I came out of your body, I killed him. What benediction you want? Ekadashi. Blame it on a woman. That we have to fast on Ekadashi. Just a joke. Don't take it the wrong way, it's just a joke. Because that's what she wanted. She said on this day, 2 days a month, no grains, no beans. You eat grains and beans on her day, pop. And I'm not talking soda pop. Sin. Anyone who eats grains on the Ekadasi day is eating sin. Choice is yours. Anyway, Hare Krishna. So this Vasudeva, so when Brahma was generated from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Brahma heard two sounds, ta, pa. He understood. And so he performed meditation for hundreds of years. Narayan appeared to him. Brahma said, my Lord, I want to create the universe. Tell me how I can do it. And Narayan spoke 4 verses. These 4 verses are the original 4 verses of Bhagavatam, which are known as Chatushloki, which appears in Canto 2, Chapter 9. From 4 verses, Vyasadeva has compiled 18,000 from the original 4. Just like a painter has 3 colors, and from mixing the 3 colors, you get so many colors. But basically, it's 3 colors. So from those 4 verses, which are considered the nutshell of Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva comes up with the 18,000 Bhagavatam that we have. In the higher planets, their Bhagavatam is bigger. We're only human beings, so we only have 18,000 verses. We're just human beings. We can't accommodate so many. And there are 4 Chatushloki verses of Bhagavad Gita. What chapter are they in? 10th chapter. Very good. Verses 8, 9, 10, 11. Aham savasya prabhavo matak. Yes. Somebody knows Bhagavad Gita. Excellent. Very good. See, he has his hand in the bead bag. Therefore, Krishna immediately gave him the knowledge. Chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita. From me comes knowledge, remembrance. See, I don't have my hand in my, I better put my hand in my bead bag. Otherwise, Kakani is going to get me on every verse. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So, the first words of knowledge, remember, Brahma is alone. There's nothing else in the universe. So the original source of knowledge is God, Narayan. Sometimes people ask, what is the origin of the Vedas? I just gave it. The origin of the Vedas are the first 4 verses of Bhagavatam. Vedas comes after. It was after this that Brahma spoke, that the Vedas came out of his mouth. But before that, the first original knowledge is the 4 original Chatushloki verses of Bhagavatam. That's why this Bhagavatam is, as we say in Spanish, muy importante. I'm going to South America tomorrow, so I got to get in the mood. This Bhagavatam is creme de la creme. Or like, okay, you have anyone who's made burfi, right? Has anyone ever cooked burfi? You have to cook and cook and don't let it get burnt. And cook it, stir it, not too high. Takes hours, am I right? I know. I used to have to do in temple as my service. So much milk and then you get a few sweets. But Rādhā Raman Bhagavan ki. But that barfi, sweeter than sweet. Yes. Once I came in contact with Bengali sweets and Indian temple sweets. I look at this American candy. Right? There's no comparison. When I went first time to Calcutta, the devotee said, come with me, I'm going to take you to this sweet shop. He said, there's nothing better than a Bengali sweet shop. I said, what are you talking? He said, come with me. He was a local. So we went to this Bengali sweet. Oh my God. Unbelievable. And then, I remember I was in Vrindavan, 1975. Somebody took me to a temple. And they said, here, eat this. I said, what is it? Ras Malai. What is Ras Malai? Don't worry, just eat it. I said, this is the greatest. What? Put that next to a Snickers. I mean, come on. It's like comparing a bicycle to a Rolls Royce. Yes. These sweets that is offered to Krishna, these are special. And the recipes have been handed down millions and millions of years. That's why I love when we come to the season of Govardhan, right? And every year I read that whole section of Bhagavatam, and one of my favorite parts is when Krishna says, so we're going to worship Govardhan Hill, and the cows make ladus, make sweet balls, make halava, and the whole list. I was going, wow, this is why I like Krishna. And therefore I always tell a joke. He doesn't say anything about tacos. He's very specific about what he is to be offered. Yes, no burgers. Krishna has very nice tastes. Right? Makkan chor. That tells you right away what he likes. Why? Because he's a person. Just like tomorrow when I go to Santiago, I'm going to be staying at different Sindhi homes. My sponsor is Sindhis. So I'm staying in like 4 or 5 different houses. So already they're asking me, Prabhuji, what do you want to eat? So why? Because you know Indian culture. You feed your guest what he likes to eat, not that you give him cereal. Right? Indian culture is like that. If your guru comes, Swamiji comes, you want to give him the best. Why? Because we're persons, and persons have different tastes. Some people like sweet, some people like sour, some people like salty, some people like hot, 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 hot. Right? One time, one South Indian lady, she cooked a Sunday feast. There was so much cayenne, my throat was on fire. Yay! Woo! And there's one Gujarati lady in Los Angeles. If she cooks a feast, she says it loudly, I don't use less than 108 chilies. No, but her cooking is good. Despite the 100, but she's cooking for the whole temple, not just one little plate. Yikes. So the idea is, person means there are tastes, there are preferences. So my point is, Krishna is a person. And you just don't feed him any damn thing. Oh, it's Krishna, he'll eat anything. Is that love? Is that bhakti? Yeah, Krishna, just give him that, well, of course, he accepted the chip rice, right? But why did he accept the chip rice from Sudama? Because it tastes so good? What was that? Yes, because it came from who? His bhakta. And he says in that verse, right? Patram pushpam phalam choyam. So I knew this one. Wait, I gotta get my hand in my bag. Patram pushpam phalam choyam yome bhaktya parichyati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Ashnami, you know what that word means? I eat. But what is he eating? The bhakti. That is what he's eating. Still, it is our job to give Krishna what he wants, because he's a person. Okay, this verse continues. Now, the next part. Muyanti yat suraya. Vyasadeva is saying, Vasudev has created this material world, and everyone is under illusion, including Suraya. What to speak of me and you? Even the great sages and demigods are still illusioned. That's an important point. What to speak of me and you? They are bewildered by this material manifestation. Now, the rest of this, the next line, is a very interesting concept, something that I've been preaching a lot the last 2 years, which is, it's not that I've made this up, it's directly stated a dozen or more times in the Bhagavatam, how this material world is a dream. No different than the dream you have at night. When you're in the dream, does it seem real? When you're having a dream at night, do you experience it as being real, yes or no? But when you wake up, you see it for what it was. Whether it was a good or bad dream, right? If it was a good dream, it's like, oh, why did I have to wake up? I was flying, I was a king, I was enjoying. I woke up, now I got to go to work. Oh. And if it's a bad dream, and then you wake up, oh, it was only a, right? Good dream or bad dream, it's still a dream. Bhagavatam says, and I'm telling you because I did the homework, several dozen verses explaining how material existence is just like a dream. And you know the bulk of those verses where they appear? Uddhava Gita. And who spoke Uddhava Gita? The same Krishna that spoke Bhagavad Gita. So in this first verse of Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva is saying, don't you sometimes see land on water and water on land? What do we call that? Mirage. Right? It looks real, it seems real, but then you realize it's a mirage. This material world is also a mirage. We think we are enjoying. We think we're in control. We think so many things, but then the reality comes. Sari chali, no can do. Take another birth, have another dream. This past dream, you were a woman. Next dream, you and your husband will change places. You all know, I'm not going to say his name, but there's somebody I know. He's a temple president somewhere. Don't ask me, I'm not going to tell you his name. So him and his wife, they went many years ago to see Bhrigu astronomer. You are familiar with Bhrigu. They're like the top, they're like the gold class of astronomers, Bhrigu. And they have those shots, I think, those things, and your name is on it. And anyway, the astrologer told them, oh, you two have been husband and wife 5 times. And every time you switch. Pretty scary, huh? Every life you switch roles. Makes you want to look at your partner. Yeah. Yes, be careful. Be careful. Because you may be with that person for a long time. Choose wisely. Choose wisely. So the material world is illusory. Same thing. Those who know Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, the opening shloka, how Krishna says this material world is a perverted reflection. Perverted reflection. A reflection is not reality. And also, the reflection is not independent, just like your shadow. Your shadow doesn't act independent of you. If that were the case, you'd be freaked out that your shadow is doing something that you're... No, the shadow follows the object. So similarly, this material existence, according to Krishna, is a perverted reflection. Where's the reality? Goloka Vrindavan. The reality is on the altar. When you look at Rādhā Raman Bhagavan, you are looking at the reality. Placentia, California, or anywhere is a perverted reflection. And therefore, chapter 15 begins like that. And chapter 15 ends with how you should develop your surrender to Purushottama, because the chapter is called Purushottam Yoga, connecting with Purusha Uttama, the topmost transcendental person. And in that same chapter 15, you are the son, the angsha of this Purusha Uttama. Yes. Krishna says, Mama eva angsha. You are my angsha. Now Krishna is talking to Arjuna. It's not just Arjuna. When Krishna says to Arjuna, Mama eva angsha, that includes all of us. We are all children of God. All of us. That knowledge should make you very happy. That you, not only are you the child of God, you are eternally the child of God. Past, present, going forward. Just like, okay, most of you, I know you have children. I was saying about this last night. Say, can I give the example of Sonny? Can I get, okay? Because I know Sonny. So, once Sonny came from you and Ram, there's no undoing that. He can't go back in and say, wait, I want different parents. It doesn't work that way. By his karma, he was your son. No matter what he does, no matter what happens, the fact remains he's your son. Just like if I ring this bell. I can't unring it. I can't erase it. I can't hit the delete button. So in the same way, eternally, we are children of Krishna. Back, present, and forward. You can't change that. That's the reality. And for me, that makes me very happy. Because why? Because Krishna is what? All attractive. What's not to like about something being all attractive? I could understand that if God was an old cranky man with a beard and always in a bad mood, cursing everybody, then I'd have some, okay, I understand why you don't want to love God. But Krishna, how old is he? He's eternal, right? So he's millions and but how old does he look? Like a blooming youth, Navayovanam cha. Pretty good for somebody who's billions and billions of years old. And he doesn't get old, and he doesn't get sick, and he doesn't die. That's the meaning of God. And we are his Angsha. Angsha actually is kind of like an intimate term. Just like Sonny is your Angsha. And what to speak of Sonny, you have affection for Sonny's Angshas. Right? I know. I have, like today is my grandson's birthday. He was born on this Balaram Purnima Day, 1995. He was born. That's why his parents named him Janardhan Baladev Burns. Because he was born on this day, so I don't have to worry about remembering his birthday. Balaram's birthday, oh, my grandson's birthday. Are you being a nonsense? Huh? Be nice. Hare Krishna. Then his grandmother spoils him rotten. I don't have to worry about it. She does enough for everybody. Point remains, we are part and parcel of Krishna eternally. So, can I go till 10? Can I just go a few more minutes? Till 10 too? Is okay? All right. So, the verse ends up that Vyasadeva, Satyang Paran Dhimahi, that we are meant to meditate on Vasudeva, the absolute truth. Vyasadeva says, after I've explained all these things, this is why Vyasadeva is saying, I myself meditate on Vasudeva. Why? Because he exists in his eternal abode, which is beyond illusion, unlike this material world. It's an eternal abode. We read about it in the Bhagavad Gita. No need of sunlight, moonlight, electricity. Everything is self-illumined, but yet there's still day and night. Figure that one out. Otherwise, how can he do rasa dance every night? In Krishna Loka, Krishna is doing rasa dance every night. Did you know that? In Krishna Loka, Krishna is not Baal. There's no Baal Krishna in Krishna Loka. Sorry. He's 16 years old, and every night he dances rasa dance. Why not? Who does he dance with? Radharani and the gopis. What better thing to do? Huh? Baal Leela, that's for planet Earth. But in the original Goloka Vrindavan, he's eternally 16 years old, youth. So Vyasadeva, in this first verse of Bhagavatam, is explaining how Krishna is the absolute truth. Everything comes from him. Everything will enter him when the material universe is destroyed. And everything is sustained by him. As I said earlier, Brahma creates, Shiva destroys, but Vishnu maintains. That's the harder job. Creating a child was easy, one night, easy. And destroying, that's easy too. But maintaining something, that's hard work. You all know, maintaining a job, maintaining the family, maintaining the children's education and the lots of hard work. Therefore, Vishnu is the maintainer. Satyang parang dhimahi. Everybody say. Vyasadeva says, therefore I meditate on the absolute truth. Param, satyam param. Not just truth. The supreme, absolute truth. Param, superior, transcendental. And it's not relative, absolute. Dhimahi, I meditate. Therefore we chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. May Krishna bless you, protect you, maintain you. I think I'm over time. They're going to kill me if I go anymore. Please forgive me. Hare Krishna.